Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager. This doesn't have the right part number on the outside. I hope it's the right part number on the inside. Well, it does though. Hager has used WTBB1279 4x6 US26, and then I've seen them, just drop the WT because if it's a 4x6, we know it's WT. So it's. I've seen it listed both ways. When you call the factory, they do want to hear it in WT form. So this is a wide throw hinge. This is a WT wide throw. BB1279, and that means a whole bunch. We'll get into all of that in a moment. 4x6 in a US26. So this is a polished chrome wide throw hinge. So first of all, where are you going to use a wide throw hinge? Well, typical application is when you simply need to open the door past 90 degree and you need to get it to fold back and around and run parallel to a wall. And why you might need a wide throw is because it will move your vertical axis of pivoting over 1 inch when compared to a typical 4x4. It is 2 inch wider, but when we have the hinge closed, it's just 1 inch offset. So if you needed to get some clearance, that would in effect give you a substantially greater amount than a 4x4. A 6 inch wide could very likely do it. So I've seen it installed in applications where you had thick casing. I've seen it installed in applications with standard casing, but you've got a really thick base that's happening on the wall. Some sort of treatment on the bottom of the on the wall. Maybe it is a jam pillar where you've got a gate and you want to open that gate out and around, and well, there's not really a problem between the face of the gate and the jam. There's some detail to the bottom of that jam post that make it thicker. I've also seen it when you have an inset application greater than standard. Inset is the dimension of how much the door is inset from the face of the frame on the pull side. If you stand on the pull side of the door and you run your hand over the jamb and the surface of the door, that door can be flush. It's more often slightly inset, a small amount, like maybe 3/32 of an inch or even less. Well, imagine if that inset was 1 inch or some other dimension. You're going to need possibly a wide throw hinge for that sort of application. Not uncommon, not unheard of, certainly. Maybe it is uncommon, but not unheard of. You could have, an exceptionally thick wall. Well, those doors in a deep frame, those doors are placed in the center of the opening. I've been in historical buildings and have seen, before the advent of structural steel in construction in the 19th century, you've got 3-story buildings, and those first floor wall thicknesses are pretty thick. Okay? Well, they've set those doors in the center of those beautiful openings. They've got these epic wide throw hinges that will allow them to get that door opened and swinged out and around. I've even seen a neat application where, imagine if you have a 12-foot wide opening and you've got 4 3-foot doors. You want to take the first 2, open them out, and then take those outer 2 and fold those back around. And I've seen that in both bi-parting applications and stacking to one side. Fold the door, fold the door, fold the door, and you need increasingly larger width dimensions on your hinges to accomplish that. Well, a wide throw hinge is part of that solution. And while you certainly have to think the math out of how far everything's going to be, there is a simple formula for determining wide throw based on the backside of the hinge and the amount of clearance that you require, along with the door thickness. We can help you with that formula should you need it. So WT stands for wide throw, used in those types of applications. BB1279, all of that conspires to mean a number of things. BB means ball bearing. On a standard weight hinge like this hinge is 130 thousandths by Hager. By everybody, when it's a standard weight and 4x4, it'll be 130 thousandths. You'll have 2 bearing packets. My caliper tells me 0.134, which is the thickness of a leaf for a 4.5 inch hinge. So a ball bearing hinge in a standard weight is 130 thousandths. This is a little heavy. We'll give you 2 bearing packets. It's also a 5 knuckle hinge. That's buried in that part number as well. and it's also a full mortise hinge. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there, here and here, that the leaves are meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame when they're brought parallel, or when it's installed. That part number also tells us that this is made of steel. Okay, all of that is inferred in that part number, BB1279. It's a full mortise hinge, I said that, and made of steel. The 4x6, well, that's pretty important to know. The height is 4 inch. It's crucial to know that the height is the first dimension in the hinge, and the width is 6 inch. Okay, it's important to understand which dimension goes first. And hinges are not always square. They're not 3.5 by 3.5. They're not 5 by 5. They can be rectangular as well. They can be 6 by 5. I just had a client order 25 of those earlier today. They can be 4 by 6. They can be 4.5 by 4. So be mindful, the height is the first dimension on a hinge like this. This is the US26, also known as 651 finish. 651 means it's made of steel, and either of those will tell you that it's polished chrome. And this is what Hager's polished chrome looks like on steel, obviously highly reflective. There is a link below this video to a document called Template that will allow us to review all of the important dimensional properties of the hinge, namely where the screw holes are located. Okay, so be sure to double check that. If you're replacing something, you might want to take a look and make sure that this is going to match. Screws are going to be included. They're getting half machine and all wood screws. There's 4 machine screws in there and then 8 wood screws. I would encourage you to qualify the screws that you need when ordering it in the comment field. Indicate, I need all wood screws, I need all metal screws, I need half and half. It's unlikely that this is going to be a metal door and a metal frame, highly unlikely, but it's not unheard of. It's not impossible. So you want to clarify that. You don't want to have to try to chase down polished chrome 1224, thread cutting, undercut machine screws at the last moment. So just qualify that, and we'll pass that information to the factory so that they can package the screws correctly. The rest of that template goes over not only a 4x4, but the 5-inch wide, the 6-inch wide, and the 7-inch wide. Those are all width availabilities. And 4x3.5 you can probably also do as well from Hager. I know you can from at least one other manufacturer. The catalog number column in the left side near the bottom gives you different part numbers, and all of those different part numbers are just different hinges. 3-knuckle hinges, plain bearing hinges, steel-based material. Then the next column is the same type of hinge in a non-ferrous based material, whether it be brass or bronze or stainless steel. And then gives you all of the dimensions necessary for you to be able to review exactly what's happening dimensionally on the hinge. There's an extended description down below this video as well that will allow us to look at the fact that it's a steel hinge with a steel pin. Standard weight, they give a gauge of 129 thousandths there. Ball bearing, 5-knuckle, 2 ball bearings. A button tip. This is indeed a button tip. If you use your imagination, it looks like a button on your coat. In terms of tips, you can do decorative tips. Ball bearing is certainly the most common of decorative tips. Pardon me. Ball tip is the most common of decorative tips. You can do acorn, steeple, urn tip as well. If you're going to do a decorative tip, it's probably ball tip. Other features are available on these, like non-removable pin, where there will be a set screw drilled and tapped, preventing you from all but preventing you from driving that pin out. It's hard enough to get the pin without a security feature. You can also do a safety stud or a reverse safety stud, where you've got some features to the hinge that when the door is in the closed position, even if you were to drive the pin out, you really still can't separate the door and the frame from each other, or the door from the frame, because of those features. Square corner is standard in a BB1279. You can also order these with a 1/4-inch radius and a 5/8 radius, and that would be very common in wood applications. If you have a need for a wide throw hinge and you don't see radiused corner, not to worry, we can order them for you. There is an upcharge from the square corner, but they can just as easily be done as a square corner wide throw. Okay. Typical hinge wide throw material, most likely because you have a condition, an unusually thick casing condition. And if you need wide throw hinges, you might also need extended lip strike plates. That is something that we can assist with you in that regard as well. The name Hager is synonymous with hinges. They've been in business since Polk was president. That's not an exaggeration. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. They are not only a hinge company. Hinges, lock sets, door closers, exit devices, electrified hardware, trim and auxiliary hardware, sliding door hardware, thresholds and weather stripping, Roton, European-style hardware, builder's hardware. Those are just the first 10 or so off the top of my head. A comprehensive offering. Many, many years ago, the rep would promote them as, we're Hager. Whatever you need, a single purchase order. You can buy everything from us. And in fact, that is actually an arrangement of a manufacturer that is from a bygone era. If you looked at a Corbin catalog from 1895, you can buy everything you need from them. Your hinges, your trim and auxiliary, your lock sets. Okay, I don't know that they ever did weather stripping. Your window hardware. You can outfit your house for the most part from a single manufacturer, and Hager does that, and they are really the only primary manufacturer that I'm aware of that allows that. If you have any questions on the Hager WTBB1279 4x6 and a US26 or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.